Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. The next 10 minutes are inspired by a rowing practice and a funny commercial. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the engine. When I was rowing at Cal, the competition was really fierce. And I was rowing on the freshman team, my first year, obviously. Now, in rowing, it's a very much a developmental sport, and you can actually walk on to the rowing team. So I wasn't a recruited athlete at Cal. I hadn't rowed in high school. And so what I had to do is get onto the team, learn how to row in my first year, and then I actually ended up making the boat. I beat out the other guys that had rowed through high school and went on to the national championship. So what you have to do is then you kind of segregate the first year guys. Those are called the freshmen, right? Obviously. And you segregate them and they kind of fight amongst themselves all year long, and the best rise to the top, and then they make the boat, and then in their sophomore, junior, and senior year, they go on to the varsity team. And they don't necessarily make the varsity boat, but they're on that team. And because of that, you have this very steep learning curve with the freshmen, right? They develop very intensely over the course of the years. Now, again, you develop when you're on the varsity team, sure, but there's nothing like having never rowed on, day one or month one, and then being at the national championship in 10 months. Like, that learning curve is really extreme. So selecting the people for the boat is very difficult. You could look at a varsity team in the first month and pretty much guess who the majority of the guys were going to be that would be in the boat. And there will be some differences. But if you look at the freshman boat in month one or week one, I mean, maybe there's one or two guys that you're like, yeah, those guys will make it. But then it's just dumpster fire. Just a scrappy bare knuckle fight for the other seats because there's so much development. So because of this, you can't look at how somebody's doing on a certain day and figure out if they should make the boat or not, right? If you have 20 guys, you can't just say, okay, well, John did really well today and Mark did really well the other day, so they're going to be in the boat. You have to look at it as an average, kind of like what the trend is, where they're going. So if you see some guy who started out really poorly in say August or September, but you see him improving steadily through September, October, November, December, and then you get into the spring and you see him coming up and up and up, you have to take that all into consideration. So our coach would always say, you earn your seat every single day. And what he meant is the performance of that day was part of what got you into the lead boat in 4 months. It was never some great practice, in March, right before the April races that got you in the boat. It wasn't one practice. It was every single day grinding through. And it was a really oppressive thought as an 18-year-old, because here we are in, let's say September, right at the beginning of school. And he's saying, look, every day you're going to earn your seat in April. For better or for worse. If you're in the top boat, you earned it today. If you're not in the top boat, you also earned that today. So you can come to practice hard charging and get after it. Or you could come to practice not like that and be exactly where you are later on. And it was a tough thing. It was a really tough thing. It was probably one of the toughest experiences of my life, being on the rowing team, or at least my younger life. And I embraced it. I embraced that thought, the idea that, it was just one thing, just one day. It didn't really sit well with me, but there was something that was going on recently that has really brought that back into the forefront in my life. And I've always lived that way. I've always worked that way with my students. I always believed that every single day I earned their attendance in class. My students don't have to come to class. They don't have to stay in class. It's not like I have a contract or they're obligated to be here. They could walk out at any point, demand their money back, and I never see them again. I earned their attendance every single class. But I saw this funny commercial, or rather heard it. And it was a radio commercial that was talking about starting a business. And it was like, you know the day. You get your large coffee, you wake up early, you get your notepad, and you start penciling it out. It just gives you really this vision of this person who, gets the big legal pad, grabs the extra large, black coffee, sits down at the coffee shop and starts outlining the business plan. This is how you're going to make it big. It might have been something for like commercial for Xerox or FedEx or something. Classic kind of idea. And I heard it years ago and it kind of stuck with me. And I was picking up my large coffee just this morning and been getting large coffees in the mornings and going to work earlier because I have some things that I'm banging out right now. But it's such an interesting concept because we sell the idea of this moment. There's a moment. There's this moment where you're sitting with your coffee and you got your yellow legal pad and you're doing it in this moment. Yeah. It's like, that's not a business. Like the moment you get your large coffee and you pencil some stuff down, yeah, that's part of it. But there's so much more of the like bloodshot eyes, exhausted, just trying to get work done and nothing's making sense grind than anything else. It's not as glamorous as we think. There's a great film called Varsity Blues that I saw when I was in high school. And this one quarterback gets knocked out and they bring in the second string quarterback and he comes in and he throws this amazing pass and all of a sudden, he is the new quarterback and everybody can't believe it. And we sell that idea that there's this moment where you're just going to get your shot. You're going to get your shot because the first string quarterback's getting knocked out and you're getting sent in. You're going to get your shot when you get your large coffee and your legal pad. You're going to get your shot when you're in the rowing boat and you finally get your chance to like race and show how tough you are. Man, why do we do that? That's such a lie. It's such a lie. You have your shot every day to do whatever you want to do. I've been working on an additional project. I have my shot every day to make that project good or bad. I don't need to wait for my large coffee. And the thing that's going to make my project good or bad is not going to be because I had this perfect moment, because I had this perfect chance. This was my shot. I had this perfect large coffee and I did this math problem just right. And boom, instant success. No. I'm 18 years into this already. That's how long I've been tutoring. It's a long haul. If you count the time when I was at Cal, I'm closer to 20 years. I have been grinding through for almost 2 decades to learn how to teach people. And the project I'm working on now is going to take months, maybe even years. And it's going to be awesome. But it's going to be awesome because when my coffee's empty and I'm tired and it's like 3:30 in the afternoon and I'm just staring at a screen trying to write these math problems. And I know I now have classes full of students that are coming to work for an SAT coming up and they deserve my best. It's those moments that you earn your success. It's those moments and that kind of mentality, which is like, yes, day in, day out, I'm going to get after it. It's not the one day. It's all of the grind. It's your capacity to internalize that lifestyle and your ability to not stop and realize that, look, I'll tell you right now, in 1 year from now, January 7th, 2022, I will either be successful that day because of today, or I will not. But my success on January 7th, 2022, will be perfectly correlated to what I do today. The outcome will be perfect. The effort I put in would be perfectly reflected. That's it. That's how the world works. I'm going to earn my spot in the winning vote. I'm going to win my spot in the winning program. I'm going to win my spot in life, in the future, because of today, because of every day, because of the imperfect moments, because of the long average capacity to effort. Not because I got one large coffee and everything was perfect. I'm Matt Todd, and this is the engine that drives me. Go out and crush it.